Okay, good morning, everyone. So last time we begin with the teaching and discussion on the topic on how to listen to the teachings or Dharma. So today we will continue to carry on. We will carry on with the discussion. So any kind of teaching, and especially the Lamrim teaching and discourse. When we listen to these teachings, very precious teachings, it is important to develop the correct motivation and good motivation. So, so the motivations, what are the motivations, that we need to develop when listening to the London teachings or discussions? So, as discussed last time, that we need to listen to the teachings free from the three defective vessels, right? One, the vessel is upside down. The second vessel is, is something, leaking from the bottom. The third one is, the vessel is filled with the dirt. So that means, this vessel talks about, how to listen to the teachings. The first vessel talks about we need to listen to the teachings with close, attention. The second vessel talks about we need to, we should not forget, what we have heard during the teachings, to retain well in our mind. And the third vessel is, even though, we have listened to the teachings well, we paid close attention during the teachings, we reflected on the teachings, we contemplate on the meaning of the teachings. However, if our motivation is polluted, if we have the improper motivation and polluted motivations, then again, it is not good, it's not good that, because, the teaching is not going to benefit us because the motivation is polluted. With a polluted motivation, the teaching won't be that effective, if you try to, put into practice. So these are the three the vessels that, the defective vessels that we need to, refrain from, that we need to avoid. Now, today, we are going to discuss also on the, the six attitudes, again, the six attitudes attitudes while listening to the teachings. Again, these six attitudes or recognitions are important when listening to the teachings. Now, what are the six attitudes? What attitudes that we need to develop when listening to the teachings? Because when we talk about the kind of the learning teaching or learning discourse, it is not about just a few hours. It's just just the purpose of the few hours or just few days or just few months, few years. It's not about just a matter of short time. We are talking about lifetime, life after lifetime purpose. We are trying to fulfill the purpose of long lasting as well as the short term purpose. So in order to listen to the teachings, something which is very beneficial in the long short term as well as in the long term, it is very important to have the correct attitude of cognitions. So therefore, the six attitudes or six recognitions come into being. So the first recognition or attitude that we need to have during the teaching is the listener, the hearer of the teaching, or the listener of the learning teaching should be considered as a patient, someone who is sick. So maybe then we may wonder, I'm physically fit, I'm physically okay, I'm physically have no pain at all. But why should I consider myself a sick person? Yes, we are physically, fit. We are in good health. Physically we are in good health. We don't have any pain. But then, we are still suffering. What kind of suffering? What kind of illness do we have? We are suffering from the illness or sickness of delusions. We call the harmful emotions, sometimes the poisonous emotions, harmful emotions, destructive emotions, the poisonous emotions, right? For example, when somebody, we are having a good time, we are going through a very happy time, a good time, and then all of a sudden somebody, shout at us or scream at us or use harsh words or unpleasant words. It hurt us. Why we feel hurt? So when we feel hurt, so this is the sickness. This is the kind of sickness. Again, when we go to market, we see different kind of things. Of course, it's on the one hand, it's a nature, but then on the other hand, if we go to some kind of outside the market, we saw different kind of things. We are exposed to different kinds of the stuff, things, but we are totally attached to all these things. Not only one thing. It seems whatever we see, we are attached. We want this and that. So again, this clearly indicates that we are suffering. And in many ways, we are suffering. But then we are not able to identify this kind of sickness, although we are going to, also we are going through pain, is suffering, but we are unable to identify this sickness because we get habituated with these things, this sickness. We get used to this sickness, so therefore we are not able to identify it. In reality, all this makes our life, not we are just live alone, from the spiritual point of view. Even in a day-to-day life, even in a mundane life, we all want happy life. We all desire a good life, high quality life. But then at the same time, these destructive emotions, these delusions disturb our mind to the extent, to such an extent that we are not able to enjoy even a few moments of time. We are not able to go through a proper sleep. We are not able to drink well, eat well, because of our mind is too disturbed by these emotions, destructive emotions, poisonous emotions. Sometimes anger, hatred, jealousy, all these are, called as poisonous. Because why it is called poisonous? Because when we consume the poison, it harm our body. Similarly, when when these destructive emotions cultivated within us, our mind is instantly disturbed. Our mind instantly become unhappy. We are not able to keep. No matter we are surrounded by all these, good facilities. We have, living in a very luxurious life. I mean, we are spending a, luxurious life. We have all the good facilities, surrounded by many friends. We have all the, modern gadgets, but still, one can be a unhappy individual because of something lacking, because of our mind is too disturbed by these, destructive emotions or negative emotions, what is called harmful emotions. So therefore, right from the beginning, when listening to the teaching, in the Lamrim teaching, it is very important to develop the recognition, the attitude that I am sick person. If we develop this kind of recognition and attitude, then all the other, attitudes, 5 attitudes will come later, automatically, one after the another. Because we are sick, we need a medication. Now, what kind of medication? Now, the medication is, of course, in the modern education, we have, for example, we have some, mental problem or some kind of inner problem, inner challenges. We can go to psychiatrist. We can go to psychologist. But they do provide some medication. They do provide some, treatment. But then, these, treatment, or medication are somewhat from the Buddhist understanding, from the Buddhist psychology, from the Buddhist, practice. These are short-term medication, temporary medication. Now, in the Buddhist psychology and Buddhist, practice, provide the long-term medication, which is both useful in the temporary as well as in the future, in the long term. So such a really marvelous and amazing, the instructions are being provided, are being suggested, are being offered in the Buddhist teaching, in the Buddhist practice, in the Buddhist psychology. That's why some people describe Buddhism as a way of life. Buddhism is some, it's a kind of science of mind. It's a purely a way of life. Then after we develop the attitude, kind of attitude that I'm being sick, then what happened? Then the next attitude is now you wanted to rely on the doctor, physician, right? For example, when we are physically sick, what do? We wanted to go to the doctor to diagnose what I'm suffering from. So therefore, you need to diagnose because we need to diagnose because we are suffering. We are sick. So therefore, now we cultivate the attitude that I need to see the doctor. So therefore, who is the doctor? No, the teacher who gives the discussion, who gives the teaching, who gives the Dharma teaching is the doctor. So therefore, the second attitude is to the attitude to see the teacher as a doctor, Dharma doctor. Because it is by relying on the teacher's instructions that we then know how to put into the practice to get recovered from the sickness that we are suffering. So that is the second attitude, to see, to develop an attitude and to see that the teacher is a doctor. So this is the second attitude. Now the third attitude is now you are well diagnosed with the illness, and we also know that we need to rely on the doctor. That is, we need to rely on the teacher. Now the third attitude is it enough that we see the that we are suffering, that we need to see the teacher as a doctor? That alone is enough? No. Now what do we need? Because we need to get recovered. We need to get relieved, get recovered, total recovered from the sickness that I'm suffering from. If we really need to get recovered from that sickness that we are suffering from, then we also need the medication. Because without taking the medication, how can we get recovered? Similarly, the Dharma instructions. Without Dharma instructions, how can we remove, how can we lessen, how can we reduce the sickness that we are going through? So therefore, Dharma instruction as a medicine or medication. The attitude of seeing Dharma teaching or instruction as a medication, which help us provide relief from the sickness. Now, the number fourth attitude is very important. That is something really important. The attitude to rely on the medication for a long period of time until we get recovered. This is something important. For example, when we have the sickness of the tuberculosis, TB, the doctor asks you the doctor recommended you to take the medication for 1 year to get recovered from the tuberculosis. What happened? If you don't, sometimes we take the medication, sometimes when we like, we take the medication, when we don't like, we don't take the medication. In this way, there's no way to get recovered from the TB, tuberculosis, because we are not inconsistent. So therefore, if we really want to get recovered from the sickness, a kind of, sometimes, the great masters, the early great master called this sickness as a chronic sickness, chronic illness. If we really get recovered from this chronic illness, we need to apply the Dharma instruction for not for few hours, not for a few days, not for a few weeks, not for a few months, not for a few years, until we get total and complete recovered from the sickness of the destructive emotions or negative emotions, delusions. So therefore, it is not enough. Sometimes we received many teachings. Sometimes we received many empowerments here and there. All these are really wonderful, amazing. But the most important thing is, we receive the teachings. So therefore, we did receive the teachings. Whether teachings or empowerment or whatever is good, is amazing. But then, what we heard during the teachings, what teachings we have received. Now, just share the teachings and then we feel satisfied. That is again not enough. It will not transform our mind. Again, is it just enough to, sometimes we receive the teachings and we try to think, we try to reflect on the teachings, we try to contemplate on the teachings, the meaning of the teachings, profound, the vast, Is it enough? No. No. What to do? Now, the very purpose of hearing the teaching, the very purpose of reflecting on the teaching, contemplating the teaching is just none other than putting into practice, integrating into the practice. That is the ultimate goal. Therefore, as I said last time, that sometime we are hearing the teachings, we are hearing the teachings. Sometimes if we don't be careful, whatever we heard for many, whatever teachings, whatever different kind of teachings we heard, if we don't be careful, it all becomes this, the cause for the arrogance, the cause for pride, that I have so many, I receive so many teachings, we feel, little inflated. Our mind get inflated. So this, then it is not being used for good purpose. The teaching is not being able to use for good purpose. So therefore, hearing the teachings many times is important, but more important is hearing the perfect teaching. Hearing the perfect teaching. That means when I say hearing the perfect teaching, that means your, Dharma study, Dharma hearing should go smoothly for good purpose, so that we are able to practice. So therefore, to hear the perfect teaching, it is very important to develop a good motivation right from the beginning. Why do we listen to the teachings? Why am I hearing the teachings? So it is very important to cultivate the very good motivation, a right motivation, the correct motivation. That is really important. If our motivation is something very good, what kind of motivation? To seek liberation, to seek higher rebirth, to seek liberation, to attain the highest form of enlightenment, the wish to seek the liberation and enlightenment. If there is, if we have this kind of motivation, our study become perfect study. If our study become perfect study, then we sometimes reflect on the teaching, right? We reflect on the teaching, we reflect on the meaning of the teaching. Our reflection also become perfect. If our reflection also become perfect, your practice also become perfect. Our practice go very smoothly. In addition to that, for example, sometimes we do study and we do study for 1 month or 2 months, sometimes then we get lost interest. We no longer enjoy the teaching. Why? Because in order to make sure that our study go smoothly for a long period of time, we do engage in such a way of studying that it enable us to practice. Sometimes this essence is lost. Now why? Because again, when we do study, there's no doubt, there's no question that we do need the purification practice and accumulation of the merit, and to receive the blessing from the blessed masters, lineage masters, your guru and your lineage masters. And we lack this sometimes. Whatever we study, it's all about, we get lost. Maybe we may have been, studying for many years. Now, when it comes to practice, we are lost. We don't know how to practice. Why all this happen? That's why the great master Domdamba, Atisha's chief and heart disciple Domdamba, said that someone who has studied for a long period of time, when it comes to practice, they don't know how to practice. They are lost. They are confused. They go to somewhere. It seems as if there is some practice, separate practice, other than what we have been doing what we have been studying. So we separate the study and the practice as totally different. So Master Domjamba said, that's the problem. Master Domjamba said, that's the real problem. So therefore, to make our study perfect, to make our reflection perfect, to make our dharma practice go smoothly and go very well, smoothly, nicely, without hurdles, obstacles, what we need to do is we need to do the purification practice, accumulation of the merit, need to receive the blessings of the lineage masters and one's guru. That's it. that is the guaranteed that everything we do will be very smooth and high success. There is no question about that. So therefore, Dharma, when we talk about Dharma practice, it is not about, just, short time. Just like, when we have some sickness, we need to rely on the medication for a long period of time until we get totally recovered, until we get totally recovered from the tuberculosis, TB. We need to take the medication for a long period of time. To such that long period of time, similarly, to remove and to tame our mind, to make our mind more calmer, to transform our mind, we need to take the Dharma medication for a long period of time until we get recovered totally. So this is the third attitude when we listen to the Dharma teaching. To rely on the Dharma instruction for a long period of time, not just for a short time. So this is the third. Now, the fourth attitude is now, what is the fourth attitude? The fourth attitude is seeing the Buddha as a noble teacher. Seeing the Buddha as a noble teacher, the attitude to see the Buddha as a reliable, valid, authentic, truth teacher. Now you see how it comes. First attitude. Okay. Then the fourth attitude is to see the Buddha as a reliable teacher. No, it's a fifth. Okay, not fourth. It's a fifth. Yeah. The fifth is to see the Buddha as a reliable teacher, authentic teacher, valid teacher. Now you see. Now you practice for a long time. I mean, first take an example. You go to some doctor. I mean, you go to one doctor because you are sick. You have tuberculosis. For example, you have tuberculosis. You go to one doctor. That doctor give you treatment, give you the medication, and you take this medication for a long time. You get totally recovered. You see the doctor is a lifesaver. The doctor is number one. This doctor is number one. We give the good rating, 5-star rating. Similarly, if you buy some stuff, you get some stuff from Amazon, or you get, buy some stuff from Alibaba Express, or any store in your homeland or hometown. This stuff very useful to you. It really benefits. Then what happened? Oh, I like this stuff. This stuff is really very nice. You recommend to other people, right? Similarly, you have practiced, we have practiced the teaching, and it benefit us because we have practiced the teaching for a long period of time until we get recovered, and we really get benefit. When we did get benefit, what do? Then we say, oh, because finally we have been studying and we have been doing all this, Dharma practice, all this. Who taught all this teaching? Buddha Shakyamuni give this teaching. Without Buddha Shakyamuni, there is no way that we can practice. So the source of all our practice, the source of all the teachings come from Buddha Shakyamuni. So then because of this, because I really get benefit. Now who spoke this teaching? Shakyamuni Buddha spoke this teaching. So I develop a real trust in Buddha Shakyamuni. Now this great being, Buddha Shakyamuni, really helped me get recovered. Because of whose teaching, because of whose instruction, that I get relieved. After I practice for a long period of time, I totally get relieved. I'm now recovered totally. All because of, finally, the source is Shakyamuni Buddha. So we develop a deep respect to Shakyamuni Buddha, because it is whose teaching that we are benefiting. We get the inspiration, we get the courage, we get the huge benefit. So we deeply respect. We deeply, develop the appreciation, the sense of appreciation for Buddha Shakyamuni, for having been given this teaching, that I really got a tremendous benefit for myself. So in this way, we see Buddha Shakyamuni as a reliable teacher, authentic teacher, a valid teacher, a true refuge, the soul friend, a great teacher, a remarkable master. So after practicing Dharma instruction for a long period of time, that we get recovered, and that is due to the kindness of the Shakyamuni Buddha, who taught the teaching, who come onto this earth, and who give all the 8400,000 of teachings for us to tame our mind, to subdue our unruly mind, untamed mind. Now, the next is now we deeply respect Shakyamuni Buddha. And after that, now the next is the sixth attitude, the last attitude, the sixth attitude. Now, what is the sixth attitude? Now, the sixth attitude is, or recognition is, may the attitude that may the Buddha's teaching remain on this earth for a long period of time. The attitude that you wish that Buddha's teaching remain on this earth for a long period of time. Right? Now, what do we do? Now I get benefit. So I really get benefit because I put into practice for a long period of time. The teaching has benefited me. Now what should I do? I urged, I wish my other fellow friends also do the same. All the people do the same because it really benefits me. It brought me a tremendous benefit for me. Because of, based on my own experience, I recommended others. I wish the others also do follow the same. I wish others also do the same so that they can benefit. They can derive benefit. They derive benefit. So therefore, we sincerely wish that the teaching remain on this earth for a long period of time to bring more benefit to more people. Not only this, but also the wishing, the attitude that you wish Buddha's teaching remain on this earth for a long period of time is also you are delighting all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. This is the highest form of practice that you can ever do, that we can ever do. This is really the profound practice. This is really the wonderful practice that we can do. Because Buddha generated the mind of enlightenment. Buddha cultivated the bodhidharma. In the beginning, Buddha generated the mind of enlightenment. In the middling, Buddha perfected the two merits. Buddha perfected all the merit which is required, which is necessary to achieve the highest form of enlightenment. So in the middling, Buddha perfected all the merit. In the final, he achieved enlightenment. Buddha generated enlightenment for what purpose? For himself? No. For the well-being of all the beings. And then Buddha, create the merit for 3 countless eons. For whom? For which purpose? For what purpose? Not for himself, but again for the well-being of all the beings. And finally, Buddha become enlightenment. Buddha worked hard to become enlightened. Why? Again, not for his own well-being, not for his own self-interest, but for the well-being of all the beings. When he achieved the enlightenment, Buddha achieved the enlightenment, did he stop? No. He continued to give the teaching. Teaching for what? Teaching for to remove the suffering, to dispel the suffering, to eliminate the suffering of all the beings, and to fulfill the happiness and the well-being of all the beings, all the suffering beings. This is the purpose. So, a kind of teaching which a kind of teaching which explains about dispelling the suffering and fulfill the happiness and the well-being of all the beings. This kind of teaching need to remain on this earth for a long period of time. But then, how do we go about making such a teaching remain on this earth for a long period of time? How can we do that? We can do that only by practicing the teaching, practicing the instructions. To practice the instructions, first we need to reflect. We need to reflect on the meaning. We need to contemplate on the teaching. in order to contemplate the teaching, then first of all, we need to hear the teaching. We need to listen to the teachings. We need to study the teachings, the instructions. Only in this way, study, reflection, and practice. In these three ways, that we can make sure that Buddha's teaching, kind of Buddha's teaching, which helps to remove the suffering, to fulfill the well-being of all others, then remain and flourish on this earth for a long period of time. So therefore, sometimes we do pray, I think in the Shanti Devas, Master Shanti Devas, dedication prayer, there is a kind of dedication prayer that the soul medicine for all the beings, the source of all the happiness and well-being. That means you appreciate, you admire the teachings, you worship the teachings. And this kind of teachings then remain, may this kind of teaching remain on this spirit, on this earth for a long period of time. So this is the kind of the passage, the 4-line prayer in Shantideva's guide to the Bodhisattva way of life. We wish that, we really wish, these things to happen. If we really wish this thing to be happen, then we need to put into practice, right? We need to put into action. The best way to put into action is listening to the teaching, hearing the teaching, studying the teaching, then reflecting and contemplating on the teaching, then practicing the teaching, practicing the instructions. In this way, we can make sure that Buddha's teaching remain on this period of long time, so that the great deal of people, the great number of people will get the maximum benefit. They are able to dispel, dispel the suffering. They are able to fulfill their wish, to fulfill their happiness, temporary happiness and long-lasting happiness. So now these are the 6 attitudes that we need to have, we need to develop while listening to the teachings. So therefore, these 6 teachings are tremendously important, really important. This is what we call as correct motivation, the right motivation. Therefore, the great master Adisha said, if your motivation is pure, everything is pure. Your action, physical action, verbal action, all becomes pure, the virtuous, the sincere. If one's motivation is, a kind of unhealthy motivation or non-virtuous motivation, your verbal speech, your physical, action, all become non-virtuous. Then now we have completely discussing about the 6th attitude. Now after that, although there are many, in the learning discourse itself, there are many, things like, how to teach, what is the qualification of the teacher, what is the qualification of the disciple, the student, there are many things are being taught, but I'm not going into it. I would rather go into the 6th preliminary practice. which is really important for all of us. I think you already have received, the teaching on the 6 preliminary practice. And I have nothing new to nothing special thing to say about this 6 preliminary practice, but I'm trying my best to remind the 6 preliminary practice. What are these 6 preliminary practice? Because as we say in Tibetan, that when something goes good in the first day of the calendar, everything goes, the whole year becomes good. If something goes wrong in the first day of the new year, everything goes unwell in the whole year. Because of this 6 preliminary practice becomes really important, and we have to understand what are the 6 preliminary practice one by one. That is really important. So the 6 preliminary practice are, the first one is cleansing the place of worship, cleansing the place of meditation, and arranging the images, the representative of Buddha's body, speech, and mind. That is equivalent to setting up the altar, number first. Then number 2 is setting up the offering in a beautiful way, in a devotional way, freed from defects and shortcomings. Number 2. Setting up the bodily posture. By setting up the bodily posture, we do the refuge. That is number 3. Number 4 is creating, visualizing the merit field. Visualizing the merit field for the purpose of creating the merit, accumulating the merit. Number 4. Number 5 is engaging and doing the practice of 7 limb practice. Doing the 7 limb practice for the accumulation of merit and purification purpose. Number 5. Number 6 is making the 3 supplications. Making the 3 supplications by making the mandala offering. Through making the mandala offering, we make the 3 supplications to the Guru and the merit field. So these are number 6. These are 6 preliminary practices. So I'm not sure if I'm able to cover all these 6 preliminaries, but I will talk about the first one today, the first preliminary practice. Now it talks about the place, cleansing the environment, cleansing the place of worship, cleansing the place of one's place of meditation. First of all, we need to understand what is the place, what kind of place we need in order to engage in that particular place, in order to practice in that particular place, at that particular place. What kind of place? So this place, again, it's important to recognize, to understand what kind of place we need to have when we practice the lamrim. So this place is suggested and recommended by the great Bodhisattva or Buddha Maitreya. Buddha Maitreya talks about the 5 qualities about this place. You need the 5 qualities to practice in that particular place. The first one is the food, the nourishment, the food, easily attainable. If you try to practice, in such a place where it is difficult to get the food, live alone practicing, the first attempt is just to, find the food. You hardly have any time for practice. Therefore, it is important that we need to have such a place that, it is easy to get the food, the nourishment, food, clothing, and these things. I mean, the basic necessities for your practice, for your own survival. So this is the first quality. The second quality is that place that we are going to undertake the meditation, we are going to undertake the practice. That place should be blessed by the lineage masters, earlier masters. If they bless the place, what happens is then that place has some positive energy, which is really good for your practice. And not only that, that place should be freed from the thieves, the dangers of wild animals, the fear of wild animals, the thieves, the robbers. So this is number second quality. Number third quality is a very good, the good earth. Good earth means, that place should have, good, ground, earth, Sometimes, the place where we stay, it's high humidity, very high humidity, which is not good for health. If it affects your health, how can we practice? Or if if that place is, very dry, extremely dry, how can we do the practice in such a place, which is not good, which is not ideal for practice? And then even the water that we drink, if there's some kind of water which is not good for your health, which, when we consume, if we are not able to digest, how can we do practice? So therefore, we need to have such a place which is, the not too humidity, not too dry, and the water, all this very, good for your health, good for your body. So this is the third. The fourth is that is also important. You need to be accompanied. You need to have company of good friend, the good company. When I say we need to have some kind of company, maybe not more than 5, not more than 3, not above 5. Just 1, 2, 3 is enough. You need to be accompanied by somebody who share the similar view and contact, who share the similar contact of you. both you and your friend share the similar conduct, similar view. What does that mean? When we say we, both of us, or there one people or two people, it doesn't matter. We all share the similar view and conduct. That means your friend or your friend or your friends or your company, this company, if they help us improve, or if they help us lowered, help us subdue, help us tame our mind, we need that person. If such a person that you have, if that person, in contrast, make us our delusions grow stronger, intense, we abandon. Right? So somebody who really help us, work well with our practice, inspire us, help us. This is what we need. And also that the teacher is also included, because when we have, somebody who can teach us in the right way, and somebody who, also, when we have doubt, we can raise the question. So this is what we are referring to, company, that kind of company we need. So number 5 is not related. So I won't go often talk about this. Okay. So therefore, in such a place, or some people like big house, the spacious house, expensive. I mean, the spacious house. I mean, some people, they like this kind of place, or some person, they like the small room, small house with a dim light, a little bit dark. Some people like to practice, so they can choose, they can prefer this way. They can go through in that way, but it should make your practice something good, encourage us, which becomes the conditions to strengthen our practice. So this is the place. Such a kind of place is now what we need for cleansing. We need to we need to cleanse. Now this kind of cleansing, now 6 preliminary practice, including the first one. Who taught? It is the tradition of Master Selingpa. Master Selingpa was the teacher of the Master Adisha. Selingpa was a great master, a truly great master, and really beneficial, and made a great contribution to the Buddhism as a whole. So we may wonder why we need to cleanse the area, why we need to cleanse the place of meditation, your place of meditation. Why do we need to cleanse? Why do we need to arrange the Buddha images, stupa, the Dharma text? Why? Sometimes we may think, oh, we can do in visualization all these things. Right? To be honest, this is really self-deceiving. We need to cleanse this place of meditation. Now, the very purpose of the cleansing one's place of meditation, study, and reflection is in such a place we are going to do meditation. we are going to do practice. In order to do the practice, in order to do the meditation, do we need to have the fresh mind or clear mind? With a dim and dull mind, how can we practice? No way. With a dull mind, with a boring mind, we cannot do the practice. So therefore, if we cleanse the area, if you cleanse the place of meditation, your mind is more alert, your mind is fresh, your mind is clear. Clarity, we will have the clarity of the mind. When we do have the clarity of the mind, your practice goes smoothly. Our practice and instructions all go smoothly. So this is the purpose. Another purpose is when we cleanse the area, when we cleanse the place of meditation, what really helps is, so with our mind fresh, we study, we practice. When we do the practice, we also get the blessing. When we do get the blessing, we also develop the faith, the devotion to the teachings. As a result, our spiritual experience will grow. Our spiritual experience will strengthen. That is the purpose. Then how do we go about cleansing the area, cleansing the place? How do we do cleansing? How do we go about cleansing the place? It has a lot of benefit. The great master Lamchung, I will tell the story of the Lamchung, Lamchen or Lamchung. The Lamchung, Papa Lamchung. Papa Lamchung was during the time of Buddha. He was born into a Brahmin family. There was one guy called the Papa Lamchung. So he was born into a Brahmin family during those times in India. So because he was so dull, he was such a dull person. He entered into the few temples, Brahmin temple, because of his very very memory, very weak memory. He could not even memorize even a few words, even one passage, one sentence. He cannot memorize. So he tried to get admitted into the few Brahmin temples to learn some arts of the Brahmin arts, some knowledge. In all these Brahmin temples, kick him out, expelled, because of his memory is weak. So then he was so sad, Lamjung. So Lamjung was so sad, and he was just staying on one street, crying, weeping. So the Buddha happened to cross by. So Buddha told what happened. Then Lamjung told all the incidents. Then Buddha told him, you come with me, and you can study in the one temple. Then Lamjung said, because of my very weak memory, I can't study. Then then Buddha told him, do you know how to cleanse the place? Lamjung said, this I could do. Then he asked he got Buddha got Lamjung got admitted into the one monastery. So Lamjung try to sweep, try to cleanse the Gomba temple. Then Buddha taught two words, Dulpang, Timapang, Dulpang, Timapang. Dulpang means abandon the dirt, abandon the obscurations. Dulpang, Timapang. Right. So Buddha taught these two words. Because of his poor memory, very weak memory, when he sweep Dulpang, he forget the Timapang. when he tried to memorize the Timapang, he forgot the Dilpang. So in a way, he forgot, when he was able to memorize another word forget. In this way, it took him long time. But then because of his wholehearted determination, his wholehearted, so he, what happened is when he, sweep on the right side, when he sweep on the right side, when right side is done, he moved to the left side. Then Buddha created, through Buddha's, some magic, he created the more dust on the right side. Then when he moved to the right side, Buddha created more dust on the left side. So in this way, he created a lot of, he really worked hard. So because of his determination, because of his hard work, finally, this Lamchung, the great Lamchung, he was able to memorize, not only memorize, he was able to understand the meaning of Dulpang. Dulpang means abandoned dirt. Timapang means abandoned obscuration. So he understood, not only he was able to recite fluently, recited fluently and memorize these two words, but also he understood completely the meaning. Actually, what he understood is when he said Dulpang, it is not the external dirt, it is his internal dirt, delusions, abandoned delusions. Dulpang. Timapang means the seed of these delusions, anger, attachment, ignorance. So the seed of this. So he come to understand in such a way that it really, when the moment he began to understand these two words, the spiritual path, the wisdom cultivated in his mind, he cultivated the wisdom, and then he further worked hard, and finally he achieved the arhat. He destroyed all the delusions, grasping in this way. Don't think that Dulpang, Timapang, abandoned obscurations, abandoned dirt is something very simple. It encompasses, it talks about entire Buddha's teaching. It talks about the entire Buddha's 8,400,000 text. The meaning is inside, is in these two words. So you can practice the entire Buddha's teaching in these two words, Dulpang, Timapang. Right. So in this way, Lamchung, again, you see the benefit of cleansing. And not only that, then the great Bodhisattva, Bodhisattva ever crying. Bodhisattva ever crying. He really wished to listen to the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. So he waited for 7 years to receive the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra from the Bodhisattva Dharmakota. And then at that time, Dharmakota was doing meditation for 7 years. He could not, see the Bodhisattva Dharmakota. So then after the 7 years completed, then the voice came from the space that now Dharmakota is arising from the meditation and that he's going to teach the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. So, he was so delighted, but Bodhisattva ever crying was so delighted to listen to this Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, which he has been waiting for years, many years. So then what happened is now he finally reached to the Dharmakota, Bodhisattva crying. Then he set up a throne on the Bodhisattva Dharmakota to receive the teaching on Perfection of Wisdom. So then all of a sudden these devils, there are some these devils, create the problem, create the, some obstacles by raising some, dust. So Bodhisattva ever kind thought, not a single, dust should not fall on Bodhisattva Dharmakota, his teacher Dharmakota, the body of the Dharmakota. So what happened is, at that time, the devils, create the problem that there's no water. So what happened is, so Dharmagota cut his, the veins and then produced the blood. Not only that, along with the Bodhisattva Bodhisattva ever crying, there are 500 ladies. These 500 ladies are the daughters of the 500 businessmen. So this also follows the same. They also cut the, veins and produce the blood. And then the Brahma, the Brahma, he come to know this, and then he, transform this blood into the sandalwood water. In this way, all the dust are well settled on the ground. So this is purifying the place. In this way, Bodhisattva ever crying. Usually what really happens is, if we were to train on the spiritual path, usually it takes, life after lifetime. But in the case of the Bodhisattva ever crying, it took him just one lifetime, just few years to achieve the Mahayana spiritual path that's on the seventh ground. Bodhisattva Dharmakota attained the Mahayana seventh ground because of his devotion to the Guru, and also his cleansing the area, cleansing the place of receiving the teaching. So these are the benefit, tremendous benefit. Not only that, the great master Domtemba serve his Guru, and not only this, all the time cleansing the the Adishas place, Adishas or a house, or what it is, I don't know, it's a house or room. So because of this, many clairvoyance, many wonderful spiritual qualities develop in Master Domtemba's mind because of his devotion to his Guru, as well as his way of cleansing the area, the place of worship. So like this, there are many, wonderful stories. Now I will talk about how to cleanse. Now, in any practice, in any kind of practice, we do not think that, this cleansing practice is very ordinary. If we really know how to practice, even when you do the sweeping, you are able to practice the entire Buddha's teaching. Sometimes we see, this is only one practice, this another one is different practice, we don't think like that. Only thing is that we need to understand. We need to understand. We need to know how to practice all the Buddha's teaching, entirety of the Buddha's teaching in one single practice. So this cleansing practice, cleansing the place, contains all the entirety of the Buddha's teachings, only if we know. If we do not know, then we say it's a simple practice, it's just one practice. If we really understand, we are able to practice the entirety of the Buddha's teaching into this wonderful practice, an amazing practice. Right? So in any practice, we need the three things. The first is the preparation. The second one is the actual practice, and then the conclusion. We need the three main things in any practice. If we do in these three things, your practice become complete. It's totally, wonderful practice, great practice. Now, how do we, in this cleansing practice, how do we practice the entirety of the Buddha's teaching into this cleansing practice? Just cleansing practice. Just you put you hold the broom in your hand. You try to sweep the floor. How do we practice the entirety of the Buddha's teaching? So that is done by now. The first, as we said, the motivation. We need to have the preparation. What is the preparation? Before we cleansing, what is the preparation? First of all, you know, we have the bowl, and then we have some kind of saffron water in the bowl, and then we sprinkle on the ground. What it indicates? It indicates that you are thinking, may all the beings, the suffering beings, heart and mind is moistened by bodhidharma, bodhicitta. So first, we are doing this because water is a kind of the flexibility, right? It can purify. So our mind is also in some way flexible. So it can also, moisten. Our mind is moistened. Is the bodhidharma with the water. So then, after that, now the first preparation is we need to do the three motivation. The first motivation is may I be able to freed from the suffering of the lower limb, and I'm making all the effort. May I wish to achieve the higher rebirth. For that very purpose, I am going to engage in this cleansing to purify my mind and the mind of all the other beings. This is the first visualization. The second visualization is it enough to take a rebirth as a human? No. Again, even if you take the rebirth as human, there is no guarantee that you are going to live forever, that you are going to experience happiness and blissful experience in each and every minute for your whole life. There is no guarantee. Therefore, you develop a sincere wish to achieve the liberation, to seek the total cessation, blissful experience, the blissful, nirvana. You develop a sincere wish to achieve the liberation. For that very purpose, I'm doing this cleansing practice. The cleansing the negative emotions and the obscurations of myself and all the other beings. This is the second visualization. The third visualization, now is it enough that I may achieve the nirvana? No, because all the beings have been your mother, have been your mother. So therefore, you wish to achieve the enlightenment for the benefit of all the beings. For that very purpose, I'm going to engage in this, cleansing, to remove, to dispel the negativities and obscurations of yourself and all the other beings. So this is the three visualization. In these three visualization, all the Buddha's teaching is included, all the Buddha's practice is included. Nothing is lacking. Now you are doing all the, you are doing all the Buddha's teaching. You are practicing all the Buddha's teaching. The spiritual training of the person of the small scope, the spiritual training of the person of the medium capacity, the spiritual training of the person of the highest capacity. You are doing all the practice training. What superior training is needed? You are doing this kind of the profundity of all the practice. Right? And then with this, now we develop, may I create my own pure Buddha land. May I be able to create my own, may I be able to create the cause, conditions to create my own pure land in the future. So this is the preparation. Now this is the preparation. We need to have this kind of preparation. Then it's complete practice. Nothing is lacking. Then now the actual practice. Now in the actual practice, again, what we need to do is we need to, may I be able to purify the negativities and obscurations of all the sentient beings. May the negativities and the obscurations of all the sentient beings and myself be apanaya soha. So we have to do like this. May all the negativities and all the beings of all of myself and all the beings be apanaya soha. So we need to recite, when we do the sweeping. And not only this, when we sweeping, also we say dulpang, timapang, dulpang, timapang. As I said, this is really profound, It encompasses all the Buddha's teaching. Dulpang, timapang, dulpang, timapang. And then at the same time, all the, at the same time, then you visualize, this is the actual practice, right? You visualize, in all the 10 directions where there are images, Buddha's images, the stupa, whatever, holy images, temple, the gomba, whatever. You emanate the millions of times. You emanate the limitless number of yourself. You emanate, and you go to all the, all the directions where there are, stupas, Buddha's images, the satsa, whatever. You visualize cleansing them. You visualize cleansing them. If you are able to do this, how much merit? Inexpressible merit, unspeakable merit that we create. And then what happens is, when we are speaking in your, we are cleansing in your place of meditation, right? And after this, now we bring the dust, when we bring the dust outside, we visualize that these dust are torma, torma, ritual cake, torma, and we are making offering to the Lord of Death, the Lord of Messenger, the Messenger of Death, or the Lord of Death. In this, and then the Lord of Death is satisfied. In this way, you will have a long life. You are going to have a long life because you are deceiving that Lord of Death. You are betraying the Lord of Death. This is a supreme way of having a longevity life. Longevity. Then with this, then the actual practice, there is one rite called Vajra Vitarane. Vajra Vitarane. If you are able to do this, that would be also very great, because it contains about all how to cleanse. Vajra Vitarane, rite ritual, which is all about cleansing. Then the final, the conclusion, the final conclusion, the final conclusion of the cleansing the place is, now you think that the place where I am going to practice and where I'm going to meditate is transformed into the pure land instantly. All the, all the beings, including yourself, all the beings have cultivated the spiritual experience, developed the spiritual path within them, and that you have created a very powerful, created a powerful seed to create your own Buddha Pure Land in the very soon. So this is how we set up. So with this, this is how we do the conclusion. So we have preparation, actual practice, and conclusion done. Everything is well packed, well packaged. Not a single is missing. We have practiced the entirety of the Buddha's teaching. Now, I think we have, I think I'm still left to, talk about how to arrange the altar, how to arrange the images on the altar. So this is all about the cleansing, how to be cleanse the place. Right. Now I'm not sure if I should say this, the how to set up the altar. Now how to set up the altar, Now, first of all, why do we need to set up the altar? Again, this is the question. Why do we need to set up? If we set up the altar, the images of the Buddha stupa, the text, Dharma text, the main purpose is, if we set up to make sure that your practice goes smoothly, we need to create the merit, we need to do the purification practice. In order to create the merit and in order to do the purification practice, setting up the altar is one of the powerful method and the powerful purification practice that one can do. So because of this, we set up the altar. And another reason is because if we, set up this, three, the images, Buddha statue images, the text, Dharma text, and then the stupa, you are creating the causes to attain the body, speech, and mind of the Buddha, of yourself in the future, very soon.
Ben, because time is up, so we may end now.
Okay, yeah. Sure, yeah. So with this, I will end this with my Dhamma discussion or discourse. So we will dedicate. Jawadi Yudada Namasanga Bagana Rawaja Kamana Vati Sam Gover Show Churches and General Shamageva and Gimiti. Jawanya Mama by a Panda Panda Peva Show. Consideration of the independent managing when the jails of the Zia from Isha said about the dangerous mission to some give it the Pelaging that the chick is Chawanga among the way. Tai do you so the Seven Jails to make him go much of a country carry to get some up. No, sometime we shall so the okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Cassie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, cảm ơn mọi người đã vào nghe Pháp ạ. Những cái câu hỏi mà hồi tuần này chưa được trả lời thì ban tổ chức sẽ lưu lại về để tuần sau ạ. Xin mọi người thông cảm ạ, tại bây giờ cũng đã hết giờ rồi.
Okay. Thank you.